The Denver Broncos have some exciting news to share in the AFC West. The constant criticism of quarterback Russell Wilson needs to end, and head coach Sean Payton has stepped up, explaining why Wilson's second season in Denver will surpass everything we saw last year. Plus, there's some draft news coming up at the end of this video. Before we dive in, if you're new here, a quick like and subscribe would really help us out in the YouTube algorithm. Now let's talk about what's ahead for the Broncos. While it's tough to face divisional rivals like Justin Herbert, Andy Reid, and Patrick Mahomes twice a year, there is a silver lining. The Broncos get to square off against the Las Vegas Raiders, a team that is still scrambling to find a stable solution at quarterback. Despite the Raiders' attempts to put together a strong roster, they are now paying a steep price for a questionable decision, something that fans in Vegas are far from excited about. In major news today, Geno Smith, the quarterback the Raiders had traded a third-round draft pick for from the Seattle Seahawks, has signed an extension to become their quarterback for the foreseeable future. This decision really highlights how good the Russell Wilson trade now looks in comparison, especially considering the $40 million a year price tag for Smith. Every Raiders content creator I've watched has expressed doubts, including my good friend Graf at OLV Raiders, who's been vocal about this move. Even during his live streams, Graf mentioned that the Raiders still might pursue a quarterback next year, indicating they're not sold on Smith long term. Actions speak louder than words, and the Raiders' interest in potential quarterbacks like Joe Milton, who ultimately chose the Cowboys due to his family's allegiance, reveals that they don't truly believe in Geno Smith as their future leader. If they did, they wouldn't still be looking for alternatives. This uncertainty makes me even more grateful that the Broncos have Russell Wilson locked in on a rookie deal, and we're set for the next several years with a quarterback who has proven his ability. Remember Wilson's first game last season? He was just a tip pass away from leading the Broncos to a victory in Seattle, where Geno Smith ultimately got the win. But when it comes down to it, Geno Smith is not the answer for the Raiders. We can be confident that with our improved defense this year, Smith will be throwing plenty of interceptions to the Broncos. The future looks bright in Denver. All you have to do is look up Geno Smith's highlights and lowlights on any of the streaming services, and it becomes clear. He's just not that guy. His accuracy is inconsistent. He throws into bad coverage, and he's not exactly known for being a locker room leader. I'm honestly thrilled that the Raiders are going to keep making moves like this because it only benefits the Broncos. We get 2 easy wins a year against the Raiders, and that trend will continue next season. Now let's talk about the continued criticism of Russell Wilson. It's honestly maddening to hear the constant hate. I was listening to some of this and thinking, who is this person? Then I remembered he was the same guy who claimed Nikola Jokic would never be great. Remember Nick Wright constantly saying Jokic was overhyped and would never win an MVP? Well, since then Jokic has won 3 MVPs, and he might win even more. And now Wright is back at it, slamming Russell Wilson. Here's what Nick Wright had to say about Wilson's potential. He suggested that if Minnesota Vikings quarterback J.J. McCarthy had a season similar to Wilson's, the Vikings should be disappointed. But here's the thing. Wilson led the Broncos to the playoffs last year without a reliable tight end, without a 100-yard rusher all season, and while working with 2 rookie wide receivers. He was one of the top quarterbacks in the league when it came to deep throws. B. Russ is that guy. Let's stop listening to Nick Wright and pay attention to what actual NFL experts are saying, like Andy Reid, Sean McDermott, Bill Belichick, and of course Sean Payton. All of them have spoken highly of Wilson's talent. Payton even mentioned how he was able to fool everyone with his tricks and tactics. Russell Wilson's future in Denver is bright, and those who are still doubting him will regret their words, just like the people who said Nikola Jokic would never be great. As for those saying Wilson might regress this year, let's take a look at the situation with C.J. Stroud in his second season. Stroud struggled, but not because of his own play. It was because the Texans didn't keep him protected. The Broncos, on the other hand, have the highest paid offensive line in football, with multiple All-Pros and Garrett Bowles coming back. We're talking about a fantastic offensive line, one that will keep Wilson safe and give him the protection he needs to shine. And just to add another layer, Sean Payton came out and made it clear, Wilson isn't just going to maintain what he did last year, he's going to improve. Big things are coming for the Broncos. Russell Wilson is poised to exceed expectations this season, and he's confident in that. Why? Because the Broncos have surrounded him with even more talent. One major addition is Evan Engram, a tight end we haven't seen in Denver since Julius Thomas. His presence is going to make a huge impact on Wilson, especially when it comes to exploiting the middle of the field. Look at Wilson's numbers from the second half of last season. Once Marvin Mims became a bigger part of the offense, Wilson's connection with him really started to shine. Mims had a standout game against the Bengals, scoring 2 touchdowns in just over a minute. Wilson isn't just a check down passer anymore, he's pushing the ball downfield, and with the added talent around him, we can only expect that connection to grow stronger. And just wait until Sean Payton knocks this upcoming draft out of the park. It's going to make a difference. But there's something else that people aren't talking about enough. Russell Wilson is a film junkie. All last season, he was still learning the ropes, trying to figure out offensive systems and meeting with different teams. This offseason, he's had the chance to fully prepare, knowing exactly what Sean Payton wants from him. In interviews with George Paton, Greg Penner, and Sean Payton, they've mentioned how they had to kick Wilson out of the facility to get him to take a break. The guy's committed, and with an entire offseason to focus, he's going to be more prepared than ever. On top of that, the Broncos have added even more offensive talent. Troy Franklin, who had great chemistry with Wilson in college, is back with the team and working just as hard as Wilson to be a better receiver next season. The Broncos' offensive squad is already planning a pre-camp throwing session with Wilson, where Marvin Mims, Cortland Sutton, and other rookie and veteran wide receivers will all join in. This won't be a flashy public event like Russell Wilson's offseason hype videos. This is a quiet, work-first mentality, and it's exactly the kind of attitude that Marvin Mims' dad highlighted, calling out how Wilson isn't bragging about his plans. He's simply putting in the work. This should get all of us incredibly excited. There's also a buzz around the Broncos' draft strategy. A great tweet from Bumblebee1 on Twitter raised an interesting question. Could the Broncos be trading up in this year's draft? George Paton is known for valuing his draft picks, finding hidden gems like Baron Browning and Quinn Miners in later rounds. The more opportunities he has, the better. But Sean Payton, on the other hand, loves making bold moves to trade up. From 2006 to 2021, Payton traded up 4 times, and in his last 13 drafts, he's made similar moves. It's very possible that later this month, we'll see the Broncos trade up to secure the right player. So stay tuned. It's an exciting time for Denver fans. The Raiders are still struggling, Russell Wilson is primed for a huge year, and Broncos country has a lot to look forward to.